Star Trek, Starfleet Academy, Chapter 13. I stumbled up to the command platform and stared forward. What's that supposed to be in this program? Damn it! Jana twisted around. What are you talking about? He did this to me on purpose. He reprogrammed the scenario. Who? You mean Kirk? Never mind. Shields double forward. I don't believe this is happening. Robin, tap the warp power for impulse maneuvering. I want the fastest changes you can give me. Phaser banks. Their shields are triple power, Sturek reported. At current strength, our phasers cannot disrupt them sufficiently to disable that ship. Will the photon torpedoes get through? No way to be certain. Incoming! Corrin's warning shout was swallowed by a hard burst from the Klingon heavy cruiser. The whole bridge surged up, then sideways, knocking the wind from us and blasting our bulkheads into fireworks. Half the engineering console blew up in Robin's face, driving him backward. This is no joke. Had anybody ever been killed in a simulator? Robin stumbled into Magia, then recovered and slapped out a fire on the middle part of his controls. Main engineering has taken a direct hit, Captain, he called over the noise. Impulse maneuvering power is crippled. Another shot! Corrin grasped his helm to avoid being thrown out. Didn't help. The heavy cruiser spat fire at us and we lurched. Jana and Corrin both struck the deck an instant after I did. For a horrible second, we were tangled in each other's arms and legs. Then Corrin found his center of balance and pulled me to my feet. I couldn't see Robin at all anymore. There was so much smoke boiling from the port side on the bridge. Ventilators hummed overhead, but they couldn't keep up. Aren't you going to shoot? Jana demanded as she clawed back into her seat. You heard Sturek, I said. We can't cut their shields with what we have left. Besides, why haven't they destroyed us? I know they could if they wanted to. So what do they really want? And why didn't those 3 ships cut us up while they had the chance? What is this, 20 questions? Corrin complained. Maybe. I don't think anybody's ever gotten this far into the no-win scenario, do you? Jana shrugged. How would we know? I don't, I told her. But maybe they want something other than to destroy us. What are you going to do then, surrender? Ooh. That word crawled up my arms like a spider. Not a chance, I vowed. I wouldn't give Kirk the satisfaction. He can expel me if he wants to. Full about, ready photon torpedo. What's that? Tractor beam, Sturek responded instantly. High resolution, double intensity, energy cable. They've taken us in tow. Should I pull back? Corrin asked. No! He looked at me. No? No, don't resist. That'll just drain us. Sturek moved forward and stood over me on the upper bridge as we both looked at the main screen. They're pulling us toward their side of the neutral zone. On the screen before us, the 4 massive nacelles of the Klingon ship were turning toward us as the bow turned away and we were captured. Not dead, but caught. They didn't destroy us. Was their mission to capture a starship? Was that it? How many cadets had run from the onslaught of Klingon ships, assuming their intent was to destroy? I held my breath a moment, partly because the smoke was making me sick, and partly because I was waiting for the program to declare me a loser and shut the simulator down. But it didn't. We just stayed in tow, watching ourselves being pulled into Klingon space. Robin staggered out of the port side smoke. Why isn't the program shutting down? We're caught, aren't we? With one hand on the back of Jana's chair, I pulled myself to the command platform. Yes, we're caught, but maybe there are still more options. What options? Corrin asked. We can't hurt that tank with phasers. You still want to try the torpedoes? No, that'd be too easy. I don't think that's it. Moving behind Corrin so I could see his readouts, I watched the big ship on the screen and the disabled Klingon ships we'd left floating around us right where they'd shattered each other. 2 of them were flanking our path. The heavy cruiser would pull us right between them. No propulsion, I murmured, thinking aloud. Phaser power is diminished, photons unreliable. Enemy triple shielded, under tow, no warp power. Hold it, that's it. What's it? Jana asked. There was a glint of hope in her voice. Were they starting to have a little faith in me? Even the illusion gave me strength. Warp power, I said, slipping into the command chair. My legs tense. I couldn't make myself settle back, but I wanted something to hold on to, so I grasped the arms of the chair, as if holding a horse's reins. Jana, target photon torpedoes on the derelict Klingon warship coming up on our port bow. Why? They're done for. Yes, and that's why. Robin, flush all weapons power into one concentrated phaser. Prepare to fire point blank on my mark. Her console fritzed and complained, but evidently responded because she said, Phasers armed and ready. We'll only have one burst at this level of power concentration. Understood. Ready? The derelict Klingon ship floated with one nacelle down like an ornament on a string as we approached. The Klingon heavy cruiser would reach and pass it first. That was the moment I wanted. A few more seconds. They were almost a beam of each other. Brace yourselves, I said. Robin, hold on. Bruised and scorched, he flinched at the sound of his name, but broke his trance and got a grip on the rail. 2 more seconds. 1. Fire! Chapter 14. Jana hunched at her controls. On the main screen, bulbs of blue light blew from our ports and lanced into space, not toward the heavy cruiser, but at the damaged Klingon warship off our port bow. The warship lurched hideously as the phaser struck its underbelly, dead hit right in the warp core. Direct hit, Struck reported. Warp reaction is... The screen erupted into a brilliant white plume with Easter sparkles dashing toward us. Bits of incendiary matter instantly liquefied by the colossal explosion of a warp engine ripping itself inside out. Big enough to take out a planet, the detonation instantly engulfed the heavy cruiser, snapped the tractor power, jolting us free of the pull, then swept over us like a tidal wave. The bridge rolled beneath us, and half the forward wall came caving in, and the main screen was torn almost in half on a jagged angle. Now, that was something I'd sure never seen before. It worked! Korn clung with both hands to his helm. If we'd been under propulsion, we'd have been crushed. David, that's great! Actually, I hadn't thought of that. What luck. By not resisting the heavy cruiser's tractor beam, we weren't under any thrust, and that allowed us to ride the concussive wave like a surfboard instead of being smashed as if we'd hit a wall. Ship condition? Robin's choking from the upper deck twisted into words. Engines offline. Impulse drive is under repair. Shields down to 10%. Minimal helm capacity, Corin reported. Some thruster power available on aft and starboard thrusters. Weapons still online, but power's reduced 2/3, Gianna said, and she was grinning. Life support stable, Stark murmured, barely audible as we watched the Klingon heavy cruiser grind and tumble on the working half of the screen. Then he looked at his sensor panel. Heavy cruiser sustained considerable damage. 3 of the 4 nacelles are out of alignment. Their propulsion system is compromised. They're adrift. So are we, I said. It's a draw. I guess that's the best we'll get. Sorry, guys. Program shut down. The computer voice finally came, both a shock and a relief. Your ship is adrift. You have cast your enemies adrift. Your scores will be posted at 0900 hours. My hands were tingling. One of my legs ached. I wasn't even sure which one. Left one, knee. My face felt hot, wet. My crew looked as if they'd been shot through the business end of a phaser rifle. You did great, David, Corin murmured, turning to me. I never thought anybody could get this far. I tried to respond, but could only manage to nod. At least we know you'll fight, Magia offered with a warm glow of approval. I'll never doubt you again, Gianna added. On the engineering deck, Robin drew heavy breath after heavy breath and smiled at me, and Sturrock came down to stand at my side. Their silent testimonials were almost too much to bear. You all did great, I managed. Better than ever. You're turning into a crew. How they felt about that, I couldn't tell. There was no way to say it any better, so I just turned to Sturrock and offered a hand. He took mine, and his eyes smiled. All right, open her up. The voice came from behind the smoke, inside the whir of fake damage, and all around us the engine sounds began to shut down. It was over. It was over. No win. The panels parted beside the destroyed view screen. There, enshrouded in whispering smoke and crowned by sparks still drifting from the ceiling, Captain James Kirk strolled onto the bridge from a place where in real life there wouldn't even have been a door. At his sides were Captain Sulu and Commander Chekhov, followed by about a dozen technicians, advisors, and cleanup artists. Full complement. I braced to take what was coming. Kirk strode across the upper deck. Sulu and Chekhov lagged back, looking around at the level of damage wrought by our persistence. Their amusement was irritating. "Everyone all right?" Kirk asked. Damn him, he thought all this was funny. Robin managed a nod, then stepped out of his way. No one else in my crew made any response to him. It was as if we'd been boarded. Then I realized something else was happening that never had before. They were letting me speak for them. "We're fine, sir," I said, even though I didn't know for sure. He stepped down to my level. "Your lip's bleeding." I didn't wipe it. "Yes, sir." "Quite a mess here," he said, glancing around. "You've achieved a level never before matched by any cadet in the Kobayashi Maru test." Anguished, I ground out a miserable, "Thank you, sir, but we didn't save the freighter, and we lost the battle." "You weren't captured," he told me, holding up a finger. "That was the actual goal of the Klingons. By rendering all ships derelict, even your own, you prevented a starship from falling into enemy hands. Technically, you've just effected a win." "Yes!" Corin jumped up and clapped me on the back. Somebody else grabbed me in a body hug from my right, and for a crazy moment I thought it was Sturek, but it turned out to be Gianna. Then James Kirk held his hand out to me. "Mr. Forrester, you've just become the second cadet to beat the no-win scenario. Congratulations to you and to your crew." All around, the officers, technicians, advisors, and other cadets broke into applause. I just stood there, my sore knee trembling, my left hand gripping the arm of the command chair to keep me on my feet. Somehow I couldn't feel deserving of all this. I'd cheated, and it had backfired. So I handled it well and got lucky. So what? After a few more pats on the back and handshakes, the bridge fell to a busy murmur as technicians crawled around, shutting off power to the snapping circuits and sparking ruptures. "Now," Kirk said. "Captain Sulu?" "Yes." Sulu stepped forward. "Cadet Forrester, report to the Commandant's office for reprimand." "Reprimand?" Corin blurted. "There's still the problem of having reprogrammed the simulator, and the issue of breaking and entering. The rest of you are confined to quarters until further notice. Dismissed!"